morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Today, our group will be presenting a case about sustaining a balanced environment with Putri'S natural dyed batik. Here is our member, starting from Gabriele Calista, then me, myself, Gilbertus Romero Diaz.W, Ekklesia Tunena, and lastly, Eunike Runtuwene. And here is today's topics that we will unravel together. The first one is what's batik. Second one is what is ecopreneur. The third one is what is Putri'S natural dyed batik. And finally, how does it operate?
Now I'm going to talk about our history of batik. So batik is one of the many cultures of Indonesia. It's an art of drawing certain patterns on fabric to make clothes. Batik in Indonesia is closely related to the development of Majapahit Kingdom and the spirit of Islamic in Java. Batik art spread widely in Indonesia, especially on the island of Java at the end of the 18th century until the 19th century. In some historical records, the development of batik can also be found in the era Mataram Sultanate, Surakarta Sultanate, and Yogyakarta Sultanate.
Next is what's ecopreneur. Ecopreneurs are entrepreneurs who have insight to preserve the environment while running their business. Their main goal is to make a business that doesn't only look at the profit, but also sees the impact on its surrounding environment. Therefore, companies that want to adopt ecopreneurship must apply the following four principles in their production process. Reduce. This is a part of sustainable living. Reduce the amount of trash you produce. Reuse is another part of sustainable living. Reuse everyday items as much as you can before using them. Recycle is the third, and it means to recycle. You can recycle glass, cardboard, aluminum, plastic, and you can even have a recycle bin in the classroom. Lastly is upcycle. Upcycle is also a part of sustainable living. This is when you take items that could have been thrown in the trash or a recycle bin and turn them something new.
And now we're going to talk about Batik Warna Amsi Putri. Batik Warna Amsi Putri is a home industry founded on the basis of ecopreneurship. Unlike many other entrepreneurs, the founder of Batik Warna Amsi Putri chose to be ecopreneur on her own accord. She is a well-known social and environmental activities after all. This business only uses eco-friendly materials for its production, and because of that, Batik Warna Amsi Putri is renowned for their safe for environment product. When starting Batik Warna Amsi Putri, Mrs. Putri saw a potential for make a business values and market opportunity. Specifically, Mrs. Putri explained that the business Batik Warna Amsi Putri has been growing continuously for the past 2 years. People are encouraged and curious about the product in Batik Warna Amsi Putri. Because of those attention, Mrs. Putri can raise even more awareness towards the environment and encourage her patrons to help protect the environment. And now we move to the next topic.
So, how does it operate? To be called an ecopreneurship business, a company must undergo a certain cycle called the closed loop. And as you can see right here, Putri'S natural dyed batik cycle is exactly what we call a closed loop. The first part of the loop is eco-friendly materials. The materials used by Putri'S natural dyed batik are eco-friendly materials obtained through a special vendor. Use materials that are no longer used by other businesses or the products of their own plants. Clothes and natural dyes. The cloth used by Putri'S natural dyed batik as the base of its batik is a type of cloth that doesn't contain any plastic at all. And as the name implies, Putri'S natural dyed batik obtains its dyes through processing materials available in nature. Of course, the materials used should not be arbitrary. The colors that emerge from the objects should also look soft and natural. The color resistance must also be tested first. Ibu Putri said that natural dyes will stick more strongly to this type of cloth rather than the one that contains plastic. Examples of the material used to make dyes are coffee that produces the black color, turmeric that produces a bright yellow color, suji leaves produce green color, mahogany produces the brown color, and lastly, dragon fruit, which produces the purple color. Next up is the tool and machinery used in the production. The first one is canting. There is also small furnace, paintbrush, a cloth soaking area made using the used drums, also wooden hammer, wax for waxing, used paint bucket used as a container, clothesline, pot for boiling cloth, firewood, and as well as other supporting materials. To become an ecopreneur, a business also needs to follow these four principles that we have already mentioned before. Those are reduce, reuse, recycle, and upcycle. And here is some examples of what Putri'S natural dyed batik has done to follow those principles. The first one is reduce. Putri'S natural dyed batik reduced the use of plastics to basically nothing. None of the materials that they use contain any plastic. Even their packaging is free from plastic. Instead, they use alternatives to make sure that their products are as eco-friendly as it could be. Next one is reuse. The practice of reusing something in Putri'S natural dyed batik is shown when they reuse the wax waste that emerges from a process called pelorotan, which will be explained later, is a Javanese term, and it is to make patterns for new products again. The third one is recycle. Putri'S natural dyed batik recycles the unused plants, like the pieces of wood and leaves, from the production process into fertilizer. Not only that, they also have filtration system made from a layer of charcoal husk, big rocks, smaller rocks, and sand. This system is used to filter wastewater from the coloring or fixation process and make it as clear as drinkable water. And lastly is upcycle. Putri'S natural dyed batik owner, Ibu Putri, will personally gather cloth or any eco-friendly waste from the local community that can be processed into materials for products like accessories, keychain, bags, and much more.
These are two ways of productions in Putri'S natural dyed batik. First is batik technique or drawing manually. Batik technique is a technique of giving various and distinctive color patterns to the cloth using wax. This process requires a high level of precision and accuracy because it's still done manually. This is the process of technique batik. First is heat the wax using a small furnace. Second, wait until the wax melts. Third, after the wax is fully melted and it feels hot enough, put some of it inside the chanting. Lastly, use the chanting to form patterns on the cloth using the wax. Stamp technique. Stamp technique is a technique that uses a tool in the form of a hot stamp. On average, this process is faster because this technique uses a tool in the form of a stamp mold that has been prepared to form a pattern. The resulting pattern is always going to be shaped. This is the process of stamp technique. First step is mordant process. Mordant process is a process when the batik cloth is soaked for 3 days in chemical material called TRO to increase the endurance of the colors. Second, the batik cloth will be cut according to the needed size. After that, it will be cleaned first. Third, then the batik cloth will be given patterns. This process is carried out according to the set schedule. Fourth, the batik will be drawn using eco-friendly materials like boiled leaves, woods, roots, and etc. Although, before that, the cloth is given wax to close the color during fixation. Fifth, fixation is a step done to give more tenacity to the colors by dipping them at least 5 times. The more you dip it, the better the result will be. Some materials that are used to give color on batik cloth, first is tunjung stone, gives darker color. Second is tahar stone, gives darker green color. Third, tawas gives brown or lighter color. 6. Wait until it dried out, then larot it to help remove the wax color. Larot is a technique of removing wax from batik cloth by dissolving it in a solution of natural dyes derived from tunjung stone, tahar stone, and alum. The cloth is sensitive, so try not to put it under direct sunlight because it can make the color fade.
Okay, next, the last part about the waste. Industrial waste can sometimes result in negative impact towards surrounding environment and communities. Problem like this often occurs due to ignorance of some entrepreneurs. Because of that, as an ecopreneur, Ibu Putri takes various actions towards her production activities, namely utilizing used plants from dyes production of compost, processing used wigs clothing to be reused in pattern making again, performing filtering in order to preserve the environment by making filtering fats, using layers of hard charcoal, large rocks, small rocks, and sand to filter water waste, fixation, and waste from the refining process.
That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have anything to ask, feel free to do so. And we will all hope to see you all again very, very soon. Okay? Ciao.